Day two of the 2018 NFL Scouting Combines in the books. It was in theory going to be the most exciting day because it's quarterbacks day. Sure, you've got the wide receivers and the tight ends, but let's get real. It's about the quarterbacks, and especially when you're talking about a quarterback class that has some big names, some guys that people are debating or arguing about whether or not they can be legit franchise guys, whether they're worth a number one pick or a top 5 pick or a top 10 pick. Interest level was going to be up for this. I know it most certainly was for me. So who came out smelling like roses here? And who ended up smelling like boo-boo? Well, let's talk about the winners and losers of day two of the 2018 NFL Scouting Combine. I'll start off with the winners. I'll go to the quarterback position. Josh Allen, I thought, had a pretty good day for himself. I know there are some concerns about him waiting to see the guy be open and not throwing with the most anticipation. But this is, as I talked about in day one with guys like Saquon Barkley and such, the perfect forum for him to show his athletic profile, especially when he's throwing the deep ball and you can hear people in the building going ooh and ah because of how much he's launching the ball down the field. He ran well, he tested well. I thought he threw relatively well. I thought he did. I thought he threw relatively well. So it's not one of those days that cements him as the number one pick in the draft, but it's the type of day that gets people excited in the NFL community, that gets them drooling about the athletic upside. You don't focus so much on the flaws that are present, that are there. You focus on the athletic upside and the arm talent that is special and otherworldly. And this was a great place for him to show it off. And I thought he did relatively well for himself. Baker Mayfield, I felt like, was a decent winner on day two of the Combine. It sounds like, from most of the reports I've seen, his interviews went pretty well. I thought he did well enough in the drills. He wasn't great, but he probably didn't need to be great because there were fewer questions about him as a passer than, let's say, somebody like a Josh Allen. He showed up. He didn't do anything stupid. He didn't sabotage himself. He did well for himself, and that's good enough. I'll also call out Lamar Jackson as a winner because I thought he handled the wide receiver question really, really well. I appreciate the fact that he chose not to run the 40 at the Combine, where that could have been a highlight for him to showcase how athletic he was. It could have planted a seed of doubt in other people's mind about whether or not they're evaluating him at the best position, the right position. The fact is he's a goddamn quarterback. Now, how good of a quarterback you think he is one thing, but he is a quarterback. And this talk about other positions is ridiculous and it needs to stop. Now, early on, he looked a little nervous, and I felt throughout he was kind of fighting himself a little bit, which is something you see on film too, is that he doesn't always just kind of let it go and let it rip. He's kind of got that whippy, wristy type of motion, similar to like a Vince Young, somewhat similar to a Mariota, and sometimes it seems like he could be fighting himself, but he did also make some really good throws. I didn't think he completely screwed the pooch, so while it wasn't a banner day for him, he wins because he didn't shit the bed too bad. I mean, that's just the way it is. In terms of the wide receivers, I think the clear winner of the day was DJ Chark from LSU. He showed out very well for himself at the Senior Bowl, and he's only continued that off-season, draft season momentum here. He was the best wide receiver on the field when you take everything together, running mid-4.3s in the 40, testing well in the other agility and athletic test. He looked smooth. He looked fluid in the drills. He's the type of guy that a lot of teams are going to go back to now and really evaluate because maybe he hasn't done enough to quite get himself into round one talk, but I guarantee he's going in round two of the draft now because he has really aced the off-season, the draft process so far, and he continued it here at the Combine, and he was a clear winner. DJ Moore, I thought, did really well for himself. He measured bigger, faster, stronger than a lot of people probably thought. Looked good in a lot of the drills. It was a good day for DJ Moore. Again, probably cemented himself going in round two, maybe with an outside chance of going in round one. I thought Calvin Ridley did what he needed to do to cement his first-round stats, be a top 20 guy. He ran well. There wasn't going to be enough for him to be able to do to sit there and just make people absolutely fall in love with him, but he was solid enough, he was good enough, he didn't crap the bed, and sometimes for guys like him that come in with name and reputation and being thought of as kind of the de facto best player at the position, the worst thing you could do is just crap the bed. He didn't crap the bed. He helped cement why people think about him the way they do. Another massive winner of the day was Marquez Valdez-Scantling from South Florida. He made himself some money. He's a big dude. He ran sub 4.4. He did good in the field drills. He made himself a lot of money. He showed well at the East-West Shrine game and showed really, really well here. A lot of teams are going to be scrambling back, and the real truth is they were probably watching South Florida stuff before to watch Clinton Flowers. Now they're going to be paying more attention to him. Cortland Sutton, I thought, ran well for his size. His 3-cone drill was great. He needed to show well athletically because sometimes on film, he was similar to Alshon Jeffrey in terms of not the best route runner, not the most separation ability, lacked kind of burst and short area quickness and crispness. But he showed that here at the Combine, so I thought it was a good day for him. Equinemius St. Brown, at his size, running sub 4.5. Alan Lazard from Iowa State, who I thought was like a 4.7 guy, ran in the 4.5s. That was a good day for him, too. And then tight end, Mike Gesicki, I think, was the big winner. Gesicki, excuse me. He's an athletic freak who showed it at the Combine. He ran in the mid-4.5s, vertical leap, bigger than Saquon Barkley's. He looked very fluid in terms of the receiving portion of the tight end drills. He did a lot to help himself, probably goes in round 2 now. I thought Mark Andrews did pretty well for himself as well. He ran in the mid-4.6s, which is what I would have expected him to do. So he validated what I saw on film. And in general, this is where he was able to showcase how smooth and crisp he was in terms of his hands, in terms of his route running ability. I thought it was a good day for him. Good day for Hayden Hurst, too, especially when he got to the blocking drills in the field drills, because he's a pretty accomplished blocker. He's more advanced than some of these other guys in this draft class, and that was a chance for him to shine and show himself as kind of a all-around type of prospect, and especially important for him being 25 years of age already. He needed to show that there's not a lot of work that needs to be done in his game, that he's ready to go now, and I thought he did a good job of showing that. And then my special mention for a winner of the day has to be Shaquem Griffin from Central Florida. With the freaking prosthetic hand, he put up 20 reps on the bench. Orlando Brown put up 14 with 2 big arms. Shaquem Griffin put it up with 1 hand in a prosthetic. That was awesome. That was massive. And clearly, I think for a lot of us, one of our favorites in the draft process. And I'm rooting for the kid all types of crazy. And I look forward to watching him Sunday in the field drills and see what he can do. The losers. I go to the quarterback position. Josh Rosen was only so-so. He should have been more. He had some nice throws, but he had some really bad throws too. This was not a great day for him. And with all the people talking about how smooth he is and how great he is as a drop back passer, I just didn't see it. And again, it just matches what I saw on film. And I come away just as concerned as I have been before. I was looking at the Combine and saying, hey, maybe it would make me feel a little bit better about Rosen. It doesn't. It didn't at all. Sam Darnold, I felt like, made a huge mistake. He should have thrown. He's also almost acting like he got some type of draft guarantee from the Browns that no matter what, they're going to take him number 1 overall. And I don't think that's the case, nor should he think that's the case. This was a chance here without any of the quarterbacks really showing out and balling out. And none of them did. None of them did. The real truth is none of them were like overwhelmingly awesome. This was a chance for Darnold. If he was confident enough in his abilities and willing to compete enough, he could have really done something for himself on this day, and he just didn't. He ran well, but not throwing I felt like was a mistake. And it may not matter in the grand scheme of things, but on this day, he could have potentially separated himself from others. And he didn't do so. Mason Rudolph's lack of arm talent really showed. I can't believe Mike Mayock's talking about him in the second round. This dude's been a day 3 talent for me for a year, and he only continues to look more and more like a day 3 talent. And I almost feel bad having a round 4 grade on him because he was awful. Speaking of awful, Luke Falk didn't show any talent at all. He was terrible. He looked like a not draftable type of quarterback. That's how bad he was. And I don't mean to overreact too much, but I'm just saying based off of the way he looked, when you're talking about a guy that needed to show out well because of the lack of arm talent, he didn't show me anything. He was bad. In terms of the wide receivers, surely this will get me some shit, but I didn't like what I saw out of James Washington. I don't think the athletic numbers were that great. His 40 time was only so-so at his size. Some of the other drills were mediocre. I don't think the 3-cone was anything to write home about. If I remember correctly, it was over 7 seconds. He's an awkward guy to project, and he's an awkward fit, and I have concerns about him transitioning from that Oklahoma State system that was really designed to get him open in a lot of different ways when he's not a great route runner. He doesn't do a great job of naturally separating. He's kind of an odd positional fit. This day didn't do anything to ease my concerns about him. And honestly, a lot of the other receivers, not saying all of them, but a lot of these other receivers, some of them ran well, some of them didn't. Some of them looked okay in the field drills, some of them didn't. But just in general, the overall receiving class, and specifically the wide receivers, I was not that impressed. They looked really rough in the gauntlet drills. You could tell you had a lot of guys that were uncomfortable catching with their hands on the move. You know there are a lot of body catchers in this draft class. They really struggle with some of the deeper throws, being able to adjust to the ball over their shoulder. Some of the routes, maybe the way they were being coached to run them, granted, but a lot of the routes that you saw them run, the four patterns and the outs, they didn't look that crisp in and out of their breaks. I just didn't feel like it was a great day for a lot of the wide receivers in this class in general. And then probably in terms of the tight ends, the only guy that didn't show well is because he didn't run or jump or do other things with Dallas Goedert, a kid from South Dakota State. This is an opportunity for a guy like him from a smaller school to show that athletically he can match up with the big boys, and he just didn't do the things athletically because he didn't participate. You know, it is what it is, but when you got guys like Gesicki going out there and lighting shit up, and Andrews doing well for himself, and Hayden Hurst running well and doing things well for himself, now you're talking about Dallas Goedert goes from maybe being the first tight end taken to perhaps the fourth or fifth tight end taken in this draft class, and that means that he loses some money for sure. So he didn't do anything bad, he just didn't do anything, and as a result, that means that a day that could have potentially helped him ended up hurting him more than he probably would have wanted. But anyways, those are my thoughts on the Day 2 winners and losers of the 2018 NFL Scouting Combine. Let me know what you think about my winners and losers, who you thought were the winners and losers, and we can have fun discussion about it in the comments section below. So thanks. I'll see you back for Day 3's winners and losers.